In today's video, we will delve into the little-known life of Larry David, the Jewish-American comedian renowned for revolutionizing the world of comedy with his series Curb Your Enthusiasm. We must start out from the onset that Larry David's humor is relentless and oftentimes uncomfortable, mostly due to the fact that it is based on a meticulous observation of daily life and human behavior. As he himself put it, his inspirations arise from parties and dinner parties where there's a lot of social interaction and awkwardness and regrets and faux pas. When humans get together like that, it's fraught with tension. Social intercourse is really his talking trait. Such a lens is deeply rooted in traditional Jewish comedy, of which Larry David is a living part of. Remarkably, we can see in many of the caricaturized characters that bring life to Larry David's shows the figure of the tumbler, literally a person who makes a racket, a moniker used to describe the masters of ceremonies that were hired in Eastern European weddings. So let's go back to the very beginning. Lawrence Jean David was born on the 2nd of July, 1947, in the Sheepshead Bay neighborhood of Brooklyn, New York City. About his childhood, Larry David says, "I grew up in an apartment in Brooklyn. I was surrounded by crazy neighbors, and everybody knew our business. My aunt and uncle and my cousins were right next door. And my grandmother and my sane uncle and my other cousin, they were on the 3rd floor. Everybody kept walking in and out. There was no privacy. I had a date in high school and people from the building were coming in, 'Larry, you have a date!' Larry was never considered a funny kid. However, he loved comedy. He was a great fan of Abbott and Costello, Bob and Ray, and most emphatically, the Jewish comic actor Phil Silvers. Silvers had a show where he played the role of a military man named Master Sergeant Ernie Bilko, where in episode after episode, Bilko worked to attain more creature comforts for himself and make life in the army easier. As an adult, Larry has gone on to remark the impact this character had on him. You know, in analyzing it now, you could see that Bilko was a manipulative character who did a lot of unlikable, despicable things. But because he was so funny doing it, it all just worked, he said. As we are confirmed by his most popular series, Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm, all of Larry David's characters start out from this very premise. As he reached adulthood, Larry David did not know what career to pursue in life. He opted for a degree in history in the University of Maryland, where he discovered he could be really funny. He began entertaining his friends, recounting his disastrous dates in humiliating detail to heighten the comic effect. After graduating, Larry returned to Brooklyn, where he worked a variety of jobs to earn his living, including selling what he could only describe as defective brass for E.D. Grandmont, and failing to make even a single sale, as he would depict through his self-insert George Costanza in a Seinfeld episode. And also working as a taxi driver and private chauffeur, a job he claimed to like, especially when he worked for an elderly woman with poor vision who couldn't tell when he didn't wear the uniform. Later, he used it as the basis for a screenplay that went unproduced. Larry ended this first stage of his work life by enrolling in the United States Army Reserve to avoid mass enrollment into the Vietnam War. Additionally, he skipped the last year of his service term by paying a psychiatrist to write a letter claiming Larry had gone mad.
And I heard about a psychiatrist who was writing letters for like $250. And so I went to see him and I talked to him for 45 minutes and he wrote me up this letter. And the letter basically said that I was crazy. And I took the letter and I'm in for 2 years now. So I know all these people. Imagine coming to work and acting insane.
Yeah.
Which is what I did. I had the letter. Where's the major? Where's the major? I need to talk to the major. Yeah. So
Did it work?
I saw friends. These are friends of mine. I socialize with these people. I see them all huddled together, pointing and looking. Pointing at me. What's he doing? What's with David? Look at him. Look at him.
When Larry returned to New York, he took up acting courses, but he soon found out that reciting words written by others was none of his enjoyment. He then tried to do some comedic improvisation and discovered that was exactly what he wanted to do. Larry David's start in the comedy business was tough. Larry tried to make his name known in New York's comedy clubs, but he often found himself face to face against the public's incomprehension. He also attempted getting a job as a TV scriptwriting, but barely achieved the realization of small jobs to pay the rent of a federally subsidized housing complex in Manhattan's Hell Kitchen neighborhood. He himself put it this way: "When I was living in New York and didn't have a penny to my name, I would walk around streets and occasionally I would see an alcove or something, and I'd think, that'd be good, that'd be a good spot for me when I'm homeless." But in time, Larry achieved to work in late night live comedy shows, such as the ABC's Fridays and the NBC's Saturday Night Live, although he really hit the bell when his comedian friend Jerry Seinfeld invited him to take part in a series for the NBC, originally titled The Seinfeld Chronicles. Seinfeld did not know what to make the series about, and it was Larry David who suggested to make a show about nothing.
The creation of Seinfeld.
I didn't
Did
have
Larry
him.
come to you, or did you go to Larry?
I didn't go to him as much as I kind of turned in the bar at Catch a Rising Star and said, "Hey, I had a meeting the other day with the NBC. They were interested in me doing some kind of show."
We left Catch a Rising Star and we walked into a Korean grocery store.
He says, "What kind of show?" I go, "I don't know. I have no ideas. I never have any ideas. I don't know how I do these things. I have no ideas." And we're wandering around the deli, and there's sometimes there's weird stuff, there's like no labels. So we start making fun of the products. And he says to me, "This is what the show should be." I go, "What?" He says, Just two comedians talking. Because this is what comedians do.
Yeah.
They wander around during the day with nothing to do and make fun of everything that they see.
From then on, David would become the co-creator, executive producer, and screenwriter of the show that we now know as Seinfeld, from the first to seventh season. Seeing how not only most of the stories in the series are his experiences and creations, but also many characters are from his life. It is well known that Seinfeld plays itself in the series, but not many know that his friend George Costanza is based in Larry David, that Seinfeld's parents in the series are based on Larry David's real parents, and that even Cosmo Kramer is based on Kenny Kramer, Larry's eccentric next-door neighbor in his Manhattan Plaza apartment. From the seventh season, Larry decided that he could not withstand the pressure of writing for television any longer, and chose to focus entirely on taking care of her second daughter, who had just been born. The show went on without him by Jerry Seinfeld's wish, but in the ninth season, he decided that it could not go on forever, so he chose to put an end to it by calling David to make the final episode. For Larry, it was a huge pressure to end properly a series of such length and success, and the end result was an unremarkable episode that disenchanted the audience and was considered at the time one of television's most hated endings ever. After said failure, Larry wanted to go back to working in stand-up comedy. He sought the advice of his friend Jeff Garlin, who told him to record his stand-up sessions. Larry opposed it, but had a better idea: to have him and Jeff air a TV special where Jeff would pretend to be Larry's manager, and they would build a plot entirely on the grounds of on-the-spot improvisation. That way, they would seek to achieve an essence of true comedy. Thus, the special would become the seedling from which the growth of the widely acclaimed series Curb Your Enthusiasm would occur, as well as its pilot episode. Larry David was ready and set to revolutionize the standards of TV comedy forever. This has been today's episode on the life and work of Larry David. We hope you have liked it. If so, give a like, leave a comment, or hit the bell and subscribe to get notifications when more of our videos come out. If you would like to see this series on Larry David continue, please support us by clicking the like button. We will consider going on with Larry David's life after and during the realization of Curb Your Enthusiasm if a certain threshold of likes is surpassed. That has been all for today. I'm David, and this has been a futile conquest.